Hello everyone and welcome to the first day of June 2021. This Day Weather podcast being brought to you by Chugwater Chili. The 35th annual Chugwater Chili is coming. Make plans to come on June 19th for the 35th annual Chugwater Chili Cook-Off. Enjoy live music, vendors, ranch, rodeo, and of course, chili tasting. Tickets are $15. Kids 12 and under are free. Get your tickets online at chugwaterchiliCookoff.org or when you arrive. Well, folks, summer is coming, although it'll still be in many areas a little on the cool side today, especially east of the divide. Really warm weather is coming. We have a quick review of May coming on up with precipitation and temperatures, and then we're going to talk about these very warm temperatures coming by the end of the week, and it's also a trend that is going to be going drier for most areas over the next 5 to 6 days. Let's review May a little bit. These are temperatures relative to average for the month of May, and you can see all the green and the blue, but this is remarkably similar to the pattern that we saw in February, April, and now May, where this northwest to southeast axis of cooler than average temperatures were again noted. You know, it's the same areas that were cool and wet in March and again in April and May, just basically the same areas. So basically the pattern has remained the same. Warm and dry west of the divide, cool and wet east of the divide. So May was a pretty cool month across most of North America. In fact, if you look at the average departure, almost a full degree Fahrenheit, 0.8 degree Fahrenheit below average in North America for the month of May. When you look at closer in, zooming into our region, you can see those upslope areas that got the precipitation were the coolest. And here's the precipitation for the month of May. And as we've been talking about, there were some areas that really did well in the month of May. Anywhere you see green or blue is above normal. And that eastern areas of Colorado, this area here, southeastern Wyoming and parts of Nebraska, this axis right here is the same area that did really well in March and to some extent April. We also had this patch of above average precipitation in parts of northwestern Wyoming and parts of eastern Montana and northwestern areas of Montana. So there were some areas in May that did really, really well. And boy, this area here is really, really greening up and really has had a big shot in the arm when it comes to helping to at least mitigate the drought. But we still have this persistent dry area in east central and northeastern Wyoming. And then southwestern, western Wyoming, and look at this. You know, this is a huge part of the West that is still below average. So you might be in some of these green and blue areas and thinking, wow, the drought's over. It's been just really wet spring, and boy, it's beautiful, it's green. Well, that's true in those green and blue areas, but you go out of those green and blue areas not very far, and you encounter still drought conditions. And as we start June, boy, things aren't looking good. This is to focus in a little bit closer into the area to show you the brown areas that were dry in May and the green and blue areas that were wet in May. So you just have to find your location, and you already know where you are. Now let's take a look at how the weather pattern evolves this week. We've got a trough up here in the Gulf of Alaska, but a ridge building along the west coast, and this weak area of low pressure centered about here is drifting its way through the area slowly. This is what brought rain and cool upslope conditions east of the divide over Memorial Day weekend. Winds aloft from the northwest. So today is not going to bring the big warm up. But you see this nose of high pressure and warm air coming on in? Well, that nose grows and expands into the northern and central Rockies by Friday and into the weekend. And while it doesn't look like much, this is a pocket of really warm air that's going to get directed into the northern and central Rockies, especially the northern Rockies. And look at temperatures. These are temperatures relative to normal for Friday. So you can see this swath of very warm air getting pushed into Canada and across the northern tier of the U.S. So it seems a little counterintuitive. The warmest temperatures are going to be in the areas relative to normal in the northern part of the U.S., relative to average, cooler in the southern part of the United States as that warm air gets drawn in from the desert southwest. So like somebody hits a light switch, all of a sudden, we're just going to go right into a very warm summer pattern. But unfortunately, it's going to be a dry one. These are the forecasted high temperatures for Friday. Anywhere you see gray, it's 90 or above. And those orange temperatures are you're going to be in the 80s. But you can see pushing 100 degrees or better in Boise. We're talking mid to upper 90s across the plains of eastern Montana. Look at the Dakotas. So you really honestly don't want to see this in early June, especially in those areas like the Dakotas and parts of Montana that really got some good May moisture, but you're going to lose a lot of that to evaporation. Look at the southwest parts of Wyoming, the western slope of Colorado back into the desert states. Woo! It's going to really get warm by the end of the week, and these warm temperatures will continue into Saturday and Sunday. And this is why we're not encouraged, because yeah, everyone wants these warm summer temperatures, but you don't want to go dry. And you can see that only down here, and this is basically going to happen over the next couple of days, down in this part of the country here that gets wet, this area of shower and thunderstorm activity is mainly going to come today, and then maybe late next week, or maybe let's say late in the weekend and into early next week. And west of the divide, there is literally nothing. So June is going to be off to a very warm and drier start. Don't forget to use Chugwater Don at checkout to get 20% off at chugwaterchili.com. Have yourself a great Tuesday, everybody, and we'll see you on Wednesday.